opposed to D2. The reason why I oppose, even though I was a military wife, right, is because I stand with our people, I stand with our ancestors, I stand with our Aina, and I stand for the good. I was not always like this. I grew up on this island, Americanized, always patriotic to our military, and even becoming a Navy wife by 2004, 2005. But it was the homesickness, the deep-rooted heartbreak, living on Japan within my first year. I realized, you know, nothing is healing me, not even the military, one source, resources, nothing was healing me. It was gifted to me, the Kuilili Uo Kalani Hawaii storybook. I started reading that. Then in 2006, the Navy senior leadership, as we have here senior leaderships, who I respected, actually started to brainwash us on your coastal Navy base, Japan, and say, you know, they spoke against the people of Japan, the peaceful people of Japan, and we here on Hawaii knows how peaceful and respectful people of Japan are as tourists coming here to our islands. Well, they were just peacefully protesting against Japan, against the Navy, but this is the Army, about their nuclear warship, which is the USS George Washington coming to their shores after we left Yokosuka. And they warned us, they said that if we are to engage any communication, or even say konnichiwa, or understand why they're protecting Japan, we will be kicked out of Japan. So the reason why I am here is because all this homesickness woke me up and taught me why it's important to speak up against our military, our Department of Defense, respectfully but strongly. They should not have any more access to our lands, please.
Because I'm really trying to get rid of
I know.
So thank you so much.
Please.
No, and I appreciate you were one of the first here, so I
Yes.
thank you for your
I
patience.
really beg our state of Hawaii, my birth home state of Hawaii, to please listen to our people, listen to my voice. I
Okay.
live both lives.
Thank you, Davia.
All right, well, thank you.
No, this is Fiona, that's Fiona, then I have Kapua and Malia. Is Fiona? Do I have Kapua? Malia?
Who's on the Zoom?
Oh, Kapua's, oh, I'm sorry, you're right. These are Zoom. Okay, let me go to Zoom. Because you're right, these are Zoom. Kapua? Okay, Kapua. Yes, this is. It's your turn.
Okay, mahalo, I guess we can start my 2 minutes.
Yes.
Aloha again. Like the previous gentleman had shared, apparently the Army knew what time to show up. So in the same communication that the Army is informed what time to show up, can you please make that public notice, Chair? I do know that you said, you know, it would be at the earliest after lunch, but that still kept us hanging on for 2-3 hours where we could have been doing other things instead of waiting. But let me get to what I want to talk about today. Our land is priceless. Even as messed up as it is by the Army that knew what they were doing when they started doing it. Why they started to do all of the construction and the structures in the buildings, I speak about Mākua, or especially Pohakuloa, on the state lease land. How low is that? They should have done that under executive order land. And I'm not saying that they need to executive order the rest of the land, because that is even more heavy. But they knew what they were going to do from the get-go. So they should have put all of their investment on those state executive order land, not on our state lease land. And like you have mentioned, Chair, it is the state's kuleana to ensure that the lease that was drafted 65 years ago, or almost coming up to it, right? That's what we're talking now, is enforced. And so like the coup, Ching and Auntie Max's case, please enforce it. there is no value that they can pay. And a previous gentleman had said that if we're gonna put it out for highest value, put it up to China, to Russia, and to America. They'll pay.
Mahalo, Kapua.
Mahalo.
And I will admit, I do apologize to everyone. The Army, because they're the applicant who had requested an informational briefing, we knew what time, I knew they weren't going to be able to make it here until the afternoon. So I don't know how to figure that out to let all the rest of you know. So my apologies. That is, that's a bad on me. So next person I got is Malia. Are you on the line, Malia? Malia, then Amber, and then Mary Maxine. Maxine.
Aloha.
Aloha. Is Malia all right, Malia?
That's me. Sorry, baby is a little fussy. But my name is Malia Rossetti, and I work at Kawaii Academy. My fourth graders and I we listened all morning to the meeting because we also didn't realize. So they were kind of on the edge of their seats waiting for me to testify for them. So I'm going to show them this live stream on Monday, so they'll be satisfied, I promise.
Thank you.
Yes, I do. As their teacher, it's so important to me to share their mana'o, because really they're the ones who will be taking over when it's their time, and their voices are just as important as any of ours are. So they wanted me to let you know that we don't want our land to be, or to continue to be occupied by the U.S. military. We want to be able to use these lands and care for them. The U.S. military has held on to these lands for long enough, and when the lease ends, the land should be returned to the Hawaiian people. So we and other keiki of Hawaii can have what we deserve. As their teacher, I do want to mention I let them have open discussion about this, and as a teacher I want to say thank you because they really did have great discussions. But yes, I do want to back them up and say I agree with everything that they've said, and I'm very proud of them for being able to talk it out amongst themselves and come to this conclusion on their own. But yeah, that's all. Mahalo nui.
Thank you, Malia, and I appreciate your patience and your students' participation. So with that, I have Amber Powell. Is Amber on the line? Amber, there you go, Amber. Yep, go ahead.
I don't believe I can say anything that hasn't already been said. I'm in full agreement with everything that has already been discussed. I submitted a relatively lengthy testimony as well via email, and so just to reiterate some of the briefer points, I am writing in strong opposition to the Army's current request for appraisal services to be conducted to purchase current state lease lands on Hawaii Island and Oahu. I am further opposed to the purchase of these lands by the U.S. Army entirely, as it's well known that throughout our community, the landscape has been egregiously mismanaged thus far. And I will leave the rest of that lengthy email for your review. Thank you.
Greatly appreciate that, Amber. Thank you so much, and thank you for your patience. I have, is it Mary Maxine Kahauleleo?
Auntie Mac.
Is that Auntie Maxine?
Oh, yeah. Auntie Maxine.
Oi. Oh my God. Oi. How are you? We go back a long ways from the QOCC days. Remember? Yes. Nice to see you. So go ahead.
Nice to be here, and I want to thank you guys for having me. Kind of last minute testimony. But I'm Auntie Maxine, and my partner, Uncle Pooh, is unfortunately had a severe stroke, and he's not able to be with us today. But I wanted to just tell you folks that in 2014, there's two unreal people. Her name is Summer Silva, and Kimo Franco, who was our attorney from the Native Legal Corporation, has said, hey, come on, you two guys. So everybody, let me tell you, Tu'upuna and Dinak and Uncle Pooh went to court in 2014, and we won. We won the case against the military. And guess what, this, I don't know if it's related to you. Chang is his last name. Is it related to you?
No, that was Judge Chang. No, he's not related to me.
Okay, well, Judge Chang, the three of us was clients, and he said in his stuff, Malama Aina. Malama Aina. Then the state decided to take us to court again. Kalolo. We won again in the Supreme Court. We won, people.
You
We
did.
won against the military government. They're still bombing Mākua. They're still bombing Mākua. Don, I am so very upset as a kupuna because there's over 30 games, excuse me, in Mākua with Evie. We've seen it. In fact, on the 27th, I'm going to Mākua to look again on section 106. But let me say, I know my time is up.
Yeah.
But kind of unfair, you give the military plenty time, and us guys don't hold up.
I give you 2 more minutes. I give you 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
So they take us to court, we win the Supreme Court, right? In the testimony, it says you need to clean up the mess. They never clean them up. And you know what, Don? 52 years, the BLNR now, Don, I know you weren't there,
I know.
never went inside Mākua to monitor, only one time. We won, they're still bombing. Don, what we gonna do? You know why? Because we get 8Ks and we get private slots over there in the congressional saying, hey, no worry, you guys go get your leave. Bomb, go ahead, do all the shit you like. Enough already, enough, you military. Go home, go bomb someplace else, leave us Kanakas alone. Leave my Kupu alone. Mahalo, Don, I love you.
It is good to see you too.
Ku'e the people, yeah? Ku'e all people.
I know. Kuwait. And you know what, Maxine? You didn't win against the army. It was DLNR you won against. So we're not doing our. I know. We have to. You're right. We have to do a better job monitoring them.
You guys supposed to be on top of the military.
Yeah, you're
We
right.
went in, against you guys. You guys never do your job, Don.
I know. We're working on
I
it.
know.
We're working on it,
The
Maxine.
military
Okay.
is screwing us left and right.
All right. Okay. Your second 2 minutes is power. Your second 2 minutes is power. Okay. Please take care of yourself. You look good. You look good. Okay. Aloha, ahuiho. I have Cindy Freitas. Is Cindy on Zoom? And then I have Claire. Oh no, Nikhil Kurana. And Cindy, are you on the Zoom?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead.
I'm here.
Go ahead.
Hold on. E mele komo ahe mele aloha nana kupuna I ka au I hala. Aloha mai kako.
Aloha.
Aloha, I'm Cindy Freitas. I'm a Native Hawaiian descendant of native inhabitants prior to 1778. The issue on this land with the military, I oppose that for the following reasons. OHA versus state of Hawaii. The OHA versus state of Hawaii, the state of Hawaii from selling to a third party any land held in public trust or ceded land until the Native Hawaiians had resolved their issue. The apology resolution states legislation gave raise to the state fiduciary duty to preserve the public land trusts and especially the ceded land until such time as the unrelinquished claims of the Native Hawaiians have been resolved. It hasn't been. 2 major cases, Ching versus Case and John Barrett versus State. The state Supreme Court had ordered that the military needs to be cleaning up their issues, which they haven't, like Auntie Maxine said. Legislation had passed a bill, HRS 171-50, land exchange. On the opportunity or the guidelines of this HRS states, 1, the location of the land, the square footage. 2, the value of the land to be conveyed by the state and the private parties. 3, the names of the appraiser or appraiser and the date
Cindy.
of the appraiser value. Yes?
No, your time is up.
Oh, okay, let me put it together. The purpose for which the land are being exchanged is the wrong purpose, not to desecrate. 1107-711 HRS. You can't desecrate anymore.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Cindy. I have, is it Nikhil? Or Claire?
Hello, can you
Nikhil?
guys?
Yeah, okay, there you go, go ahead. I'm
Can you
sorry,
guys hear me?
I mispronounced your name. How do you pronounce your name?
It's Nikhil.
Nikhil, okay, go ahead.
Hello everyone, I'm Nikhil. I'm here in strong support of everyone who's spoken before me, and in support of all the people who have, fought for these lands, fought the descendants of the folks whose lands were taken away from them, and I'm also here because of a really good friend, Kenji, who was unable to be here, who brought me to Mākua, and I got to see for myself the valley. I got to meet the people and hear the stories of how the military stole the land in World War II and never gave it back. And I got to also see firsthand the fact that they have not done any live fire training in Mākua Valley for over 10 plus years. And in that time, we've seen them not really stop doing their wars. They've still had enough capacity to go to countries like Afghanistan and kill many, many people who look like me. So I really struggle I struggle a lot to believe that they need all this land to practice their killing. And I also struggle to justify the fact that they are doing all this for our safety and for our protection when I, at this moment, feel very unsafe that they are here and that they are bombing the land in front of us. And I just want to say that a land appraisal is wrong, and it does not go in the spirit of what the BLNR should be doing. It should be negotiating the rightful return of the land. And yes, that is the end of my statement. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
For showing up.
Thank you very much. I have Claire Loprenzi, Elena Bryan, Melvin Matz Mason Jr. Claire, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Aloha. Aloha, I'm Claire Loprenzi. I live here in Honokaha Iki, right under the mountains. I've met you not too long ago because I was Luna's midwife. You met me, Chang, and I went up into, right up above me, Mauna Hualalai, Mauna Loa, Mauna Awakea. That's where the bombing is, and that's the aquifer of all the whole island of Mokuo Keawe, just like it was in Kaholawi, what they did. I have a really hard time listening to this whole military BS the whole time, and I say BS because it's not true. I am a cultural advisor for the last 4, people that, what are those guys called, the JR, all those guys that do Pohakaloa, and you should be meeting with us. You should be meeting, we shouldn't have had to sit there and listen to this over and over. It's painful for us. These babies that I help are lineal descendants. We are dependent on these mountains. That is their iwi. They are kapuna at the time when they're coming into the world. They not pay, they kapuna. That's their iwi kapuna that these guys are bombing. This is serious business. The amount of miscarriages, the amount of things that happen during these war games. You're bombing our Kanaloa, coming across the oceans. You're changing their DNA with all this sonar bombing. This year, the U.S. authorized $842 billion for more war, for the DOD, for this military industrial complex. These wars don't, 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 these wars don't.
No, that was an accident.
These wars don't, 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 these wars.
No, I don't think so.
Almost getting to the amount of wars the US is engaged in.
Shoot this one.
Okay, I'm sorry, Claire.
These wars don't, 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 these wars don't.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Claire. I have Elena Bryant, Melvin Mason, Hui Ho'ola Aina, Nick Wilholt, and Kaikea Nakachi. Elena Bryant, are you on?
Yes, I'm here. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I'm having technical difficulties too. But aloha, Elena Bryant testifying on behalf of Earth Justice in opposition to item D2. Our office has been involved in advocacy, environmental review processes, and litigation related to military training areas, including Pohakuloa and Mākua, for over 2 decades. For over 25 years, our office has raised serious concerns about the manner in which the Army conducts activities in these culturally and environmentally sensitive areas. We want to make 3 brief points in opposition to this measure. First, in order to minimize the risk and opportunity for corruption, we believe that any appraisal process should be done in a public forum with input from the entire board. Public oversight is the only way to prevent corruption, and in order to encourage transparency and public confidence, and any decision to negotiate, approve, and execute a contract for appraisal services should be done by the board as a whole in a public forum. For example, the public should be able to see who the appraiser is, their credentials, their work, the factors they'll use to assess the fair market value of the land, how they'll compensate for damage and the currently degraded condition of these areas due to decades of military operations. And board expertise and oversight on these issues is crucial, and the public should be able to comment on that as well. Second, we appreciate the clarifications made regarding the intent and reasoning behind granting the chair authorization to move forward with appraisals, but we note with concern that the submittal states that an appraisal will be a critical requirement in the land exchange process. This representation in the submittal and the resulting confusion underscores the importance of ensuring transparency and public participation in this appraisal process. And we would emphasize that a public discussion about the future use of these lands should be a condition precedent to moving forward with any appraisal, let alone the exploration of any land exchange discussion. Lastly, we just want to clarify for the board and the public that the current military lease requires that every reasonable effort is made to remove or deactivate all live or blank ammunition upon completion of the training exercise. So I don't think it's accurate to suggest if the lease is not reviewed, the military can pull out and leave a mess for the state to clean up on its own. There's obligations and commitments that the military has made. And in sum, we urge the board to reject staff recommendation and for the board to retain oversight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Melvin Mason, Hui Ho'ola Aina. Melvin, are you on?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll submit the written testimony, but I'll speak right now. I think, the status quo with everything with the military started since 1893. And with the executive order that has come down, trickling down from top down. Then it ended up into 1963, and that's why we're here today. The part about this is that neither, it seems that, and my father was in the military, family members in the military, and most of my family became mercenaries for the military. The thing that came down to this situation is that, I want to share now, personal knowledge of in my business, is that even with the state of Hawaii with the 1978 Con and the Constitution, there's an Article 11, Section 11, for exclusive economic zone. And I think priir to this, and why that was created, was because what happened even prior to where the dollar lease had come into play. The factor in this part is that one of the companies I've had created in the past where I actually had negotiated a lease with the DOT, and it's called Keahole FBO1 LLC. We concurrently, even as a Kanaka, get a highest rent even now in the history. We actually pay $420,000 a year for about 50 acres. The thing is that we don't have the printing press money to the Federal Reserve Bank, which America does. The part of the military is that as the commander-in-chief, who's also the president of the United States, can pull the trigger to print more money and to pay the rent. because it's gonna come down to the bottom line, because I know they're not gonna go away. So the part that comes down into bottom line, even as a Kanaka, and even my cousin who also has a lease in Mākua Harbor, and he also pays over $400,000 a year. It seems like us Kanaka gotta buy things back, or we gotta actually pay a higher price to even do business over here. The characteristics in this and what I see with the military, I'm not for or against it. $400,000 a year, the military can do that the same. The characterization, even in this, in the land.
Yeah.
is that,
Melvin, your
yes,
time is up.
I appreciate it.
Thank
But
you very
The
much.
last thing for me is that this is the domestic issue. It's always gonna come that, and it was everyone should look at the lawsuit from Linda Lingo, from state of Hawaii,
So sorry, Melvin, your time. Okay, Hui Ho'ola Aina, are you here?
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
okay, thank you for your time today. My name is Jared. You know, I see that the problem with this whole thing is Department of Hawaiian Homelands.
We can.
That's who's supposed to be in charge. BLNR, they're not in charge. The state of Hawaii is not in charge. It's a federal entity. Like Department of Hawaiian Homelands, the state of Hawaii. You guys have no jurisdiction to be making decisions for Hawaiian homelands. In Auntie Maxine's case, Supreme Justice ruled that the military nor the state of Hawaii has jurisdiction on Hawaiian homeland. I don't know how you guys figure you guys can sell land to people when you guys don't even own it. You guys are just here to manage it, and you guys can't even do that. From the harbors to the shoreline again, you guys have no jurisdiction to do what you guys are doing. I'm in opposition to this whole thing. The fact that, I don't know if you guys seen this last article that CNN has put out. CNN says, we're not part of the United States. We're not even part of the NATO treaty. So if the military cannot protect Hawaii, what's the sense of having them here?
30.
Not true. You know, like, the North America treaty, we're not connected to the continent. It says in that article, look them up, this came out on the 30th of March. This came out. It's not 49 states looking to make these kind of deals.
Okay.
No, it's high treason. Know
Okay,
that.
Hui Ola Aina, your time is up, okay? Thank you. Nick Wilhoit and Kaikea Nakachi. Nick, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Mahalo, board, for being here all day with me as well. Real quickly, I would just want to urge my fellow Kanaka here for D2 to also speak up to end the greedy aquarium trade. I would like to say to General Flynn, I assure you, our goals and how we view and care for the Aina are not the same. We don't view the Kumulani as airspace for manned and unmanned aircraft. To us, that is the route for the Ua'u. The Ua'u, whose burrows on Mauna Kea we can count on a single hand. Cautious on land appraisals because they always fail to capture the many non-monetary ways that we value our land. I do not support land exchange or what will be an incomplete appraisal of the land with an intent for land exchange. To me, the time and effort, the fair market value, a third party should be valuing the ecological, cultural, emotional, spiritual, and yes, monetary impacts the Army's current mismanagement of their leased lands have resulted due to burned land sizes, chemicals, pollution, heavy equipment, and other impacts from personnel and training efforts. That valuation should be used to order the Army to clean up their mess and pay reparations for all the tangible and intangible damages and impacts to our land. Mahalo BLNR.
Mahalo, Kaikea, and mahalo for being with us all day today. I have Avalon Paradia. Avalon?
Aloha, yeah, here I am. Mahalo for what Elena Bryant shared and what Tatiana Kachibo shared, amazing testimony. So I am opposed to the appraisal of these acres lands as a whole and further the sale of any of these lands to the U.S. Army. I was raised in and continue to reside in Waikoloa Village, which is a I had the privilege of working for the Cultural Resources Program at Mākua Training Area from 2017 to 2021. And I say privilege because this INA is sacred. Very few people ever get to visit these landscapes historically, but especially now that the U.S. Army occupies these lands. And during the 3.5 years I worked at Mākua that I am allotted, there's military rubbish littering the landscape everywhere, including lead debris. There are dead and dying native species everywhere, and fire threats are next level in these lands. I want to bring attention to the Chain versus case in 2019, which determined that the BLNR in the state is complying with these requirements to clean up debris, and the state has yet to properly execute their duty to verify that the Army is caring for these lands as promised. That the BLNR is considering selling these lands to the Army outright suggests that the state does not care about our INA, nor about concerns continuously voiced by our community, dangerous precedent, and effectively sanctions land mismanagement. In closing, I implore that the BLNR and other members here oppose the Army's desire to appraise these lands for the purpose of purchasing them outright from the state. The seedless lands must return to the state once the Army's lease expires in 2029. Mahalo.
So, before I start, I just wanted to make this visual of a dollar.
Okay.
We're discussing here. But, so, aloha, Tara Rojas, and I wanted to start my testimony with this. So, before I give my testimony, I would like to remind you, including, Don Chang, BLNR, that all public servants and the U.S. Constitution and the Hawaii Constitution. No one is above the law, which is the U.S. Constitution, which includes the military, who in addition will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We the people are the law, not the committee. By the Supreme Court on March 15, 2024, and anything going forward is unlawful if the people didn't elect or didn't give permission. Tita Manuel is actually to elaborate on that as well about history. So I found online, and you should really look it up, Naval History and Heritage Command. It comes from the military website, way back from the U.S. Navy. And it says Navy, but Army is included in here. 18 errors in here, as we know that Hawaii is not America, Mākua 1893. 30. Yeah. So right here it says the first regular U.S. Navy shoreside presence of the Hawaiian Islands resulted from the lease of a land for a colonial owners detailed in 1893. The military influence of the U.S.'s Boston Honolulu Harbor ensured its success. In 1895, when the Royalists attempted a counter-revolution, an American warship presence used this Philadelphia dampened the possibility for success.
Tara?
There were warnings from way before in this history that stated that under the caution that the Army would make claims on its property from where we're at. So I know you always talk about procedure, but if you want to know procedure, the history, like that game where you whisper
Tara,
into...
I know, I've really been limiting people to 2 minutes.
So
Thank you for being here. We haven't seen you for a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, just leave it.
No, don't leave the money there.
No. This is what we're talking about.
Okay, I'm gonna call the next.
First of all, I apologize to the military because I know you guys feel like you're being attacked. The thing is, we're trying to heal from our past, and somehow you guys...
To us, you should
I know.
talk to us.
No, but this is never do.
I know, okay.
I don't want to interfere any hatred for us.
No.
Okay. So first of all, these lands are all, it's claimed by Kauai country. So he claimed it because he knew this was going to happen. He knew America would try to take it. So he protected it and left it to his heirs who is a lineal descendant of a monarchy. They're here, and they're doing what they have to do to take back what belongs to all of us. So he's working along with the military to making sure that, are coming up every day. And they're all starting to say, we had enough. So all we want is our land back. And today's wars are different. They're handled from the air. Nowadays, it's a difficult war. It's nuclear. So one nuke hit us, we're gone completely. So we're playing with dead. You don't need a bullet anymore. That direct energy will destroy anything in its path. So war has gotten more sophisticated than before. No more boots on the ground. Landowners are here. Reach out to them. They're willing to work with you, but you gotta do what's right. You gotta clean up the mess that you made. That's all they ask. Because no more leases.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for your patience. You've been here. So I'm going to take several more on top of Zoom. David Franco?
You hear me?
Yes.
I oppose the any sort of land exchange or allowing the military to use this land some more, but I recognize land exchange regardless because of your support for the military. So I want to address the two of you in particular to recognize a few things. First of all, it's abundantly clear the Army has violated from the Circuit Court judge who made these conclusions, and I've attached the decision so you can read it yourself. And then I've also attached the inspection report that was done last year, which your own staff inspection areas, and you can talk to Gordon of your staff about that. And Dan Morris, you can talk to him in executive session on the Zoom, and you can ask him about that. Secondly, believe me when I say that, but we have demonstrable proof of this over and over again. Federal court found that the Army has a pretty strong statement for a federal court answer. And again, the judge that heard the below case made a specific finding about how the Army's claims are contradicted by the record. Before you even do an appraisal, you should require the Army to clean up its mess. That's the bottom line position that you folks should be taking. If you're short of money, to go out there and look at the land to see how much military debris litters the land.
David, I'm sorry, your time is up.
Just know, thank you very much.
Thank you. I have, is it Melie Turner and Bimo Akiona, Alfred Maderos, and Ashley Obrey. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm here opposed to moving forward with this appraisal. Hawaii is military controlled, and I think when you brought up about protect native and endangered species, I think that's a very misguided statement. The fact that there is any need for conservation work proves that the military's presence here is creating this for conservation work if that threat was removed, and that threat is the United States military. And I think that when you look at every single military installation are the most nutrient rich, the most culturally significant, and you look at Pu'uloa, I know it's naval, but that's like a prime example of using this land that is and making it so that it's beyond repair, and there's no more, you can't fish there anymore. There's all these lokoi'a there, and all, like Pu'uloa was so rich. Repair, you can't plant on the soil, you have to use elevated garden boxes. You have to wipe off your dog's paws before they go back inside because the chemicals with post-Vietnam fertilizer, like just the chemicals are ruining the land. To say that you can put a price on it, it's just hellball.
Thank you, Malia, your time is up. And Ashley Obrey. Bimo Akiona. Alfred Yep, go ahead.
The video is blocked, but anyways, aloha mai kako, all for Kapiona Madera ko ino, no wainai mai ao. I'm gonna be blunt and straight to rape. Because that's what's happening to us in Hawaii since the military has been here. Our aina has been raped, Kanaka has been raped, our resources have been raped, right? How can we continue to give any fighting for decades, centuries, right? For our home of Hawaii, to ensure that our future generations have a home to call Hawaii. Whether it's Mākua that is desecrated, Wapalo, the poisoning of our vibe, our precious water. If you guys agree to this, you guys are criminals assisting in their crimes. Simple as that. Believe this will bring everybody, as it's done today on the Zoom, in person. We've been on this thing all day, working throughout our day, listening. I watched as you guys delayed this from the military gets time to speak, but we as the people of Hawaii that come from here, who are all it. Enough is enough. If you guys think you're walking a beat before, you guys are walking a beat. Money. There's no amount of money that could put the value on this aina. They're desecrating any type of right to even do anything like this. How are you gonna do business with anybody that's bad? How? That's bad business. And if you're a Kanaka agreeing with the military and you're on that board, shame on you. Shame on you. Simple as that. Mahalo for you guys' time, and I wish it could have been American imperialism and the U.S. military.
Thank you, Alfred.
Hooray, everybody.
Shayna Sorono.
Aloha mai kako. Ashley Ore from the Native Hawaiian Legal Corporation. We had submitted written testimony on behalf of state's trust duties. And I just wanted to tag on to her testimony to emphasize that there really should be no forward steps towards any both in compliance with its lease and of course has fully cleaned up after itself. We know from the state's own records that that's just not the case. Well, has made clear that the state's duties under the public trust are really important. Like any trustee, this board has a duty to protect trust degradation and make sure that the public's rights in these lands are not compromised. So that said, it's quite difficult to fulfill your duty to Malama Aina is not a prudent decision. The other duty that assuming under some scenario, which is not before you right now, you can determine that land disposition to the U.S. Army's duty to try to get the most value for its land. Fair market value should not be tainted, that sort of thing. So really, like David Kimball-Frankel had mentioned before, no appraisal should be done until the land is cleaned up. It just doesn't make sense. So we're just asking, please don't spend the board's and staff's time and taxpayer dollars in furtherance of an action that really shouldn't be.
I'm going to try to take care of all the people on Zoom, and then I'm going to come back to this room. Shayna Sorono, and then Regina Peterson, Melody Aduha, Nakoa Wilbur. So Shayna, are you on?
I am. Aloha, everyone. So like everyone else, it's pretty redundant what I have to say. I am also in a position estimating, but in general, like what I want to say is that there's a general disconnect in these bureaucratic agencies' needs and the will of the people. We all have a kuleana to each other and to the aina that supports us. So when I hear you say things like, so Chairman Chang, I humbly and wholeheartedly implore that you do everything that you can with your justice of our lands, our communities, and our culture. We must move forward with applying pressure to the military, and they need to be held accountable of their imperialist agenda. Our islands are our livelihood, and there is no other place for us. Pohakuloa, what they've done to Mākua Valley, it's gonna take so long.
30.
And to Red Hill, are we ever gonna recover from this? Actions either contributes or degrades our collective well-being and our future. Please fight for us. Please uphold the values of Aloha Aina for the benefit of.
And I appreciate you being with us. Regina Peterson, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Before I start, Chair, I'm gonna humbly ask that I have an extension on my time all day long, wanting to hear and wanting to speak their voice. So I am speaking for them, as everybody else is speaking.
You asked for the same thing, so I will give you 1 more minute, all right? You get 3 minutes.
I appreciate that.
Okay, go ahead.
As a Kanaka Maoli, the United States Army's proposed land exchange and its implications for our future generations. It is imperative to acknowledge the historical injustice and continuation of an illegal governmental system. The illegal overthrow of our sovereign nation in 1893 was a profound betrayal of our people's trust and a violation of international law. It marked the cultural suppression. The subsequent illegal annexation of Hawaii by the United States in 1898 further entrenched our subjugation and eroded our rights as Kanaka Maoli. Since then, and culturally, the imposition of foreign laws and institutions has undermined our sovereignty and perpetuated the cycle of dispossession and exploitation. The military presence of our continued subjugation and the ongoing violation of our rights. By entertaining the Army's request for authorization, the board is sending a troubling message to our keiki and mo'opuna. Cultural rights and connection to land are expendable, and their voices can be ignored in favor of foreign interests in the face of bureaucratic over people, exploitation over stewardship, and erasure over preservation. Likewise, the Army's pursuit of this land exchange treated as nothing more than a resource to again be exploited for military gain. Where our cultural heritage is bulldozed in the name of progress, it tells our future generations that they must accept the status quo, no matter how unjust or destructive it may be. And this leg is there, and to the board.
Regina, I'm sorry, that's 3 minutes.
Hold on, please, I'm almost done, and I'm sure that the rest of the ohana that's on here will be okay with me finishing my speech. I refuse to accept it, and I urge the board and the Army to reconsider their priorities. Our future generation deserves better than this. They deserve a future where their cultural heritage is celebrated. In conclusion, I implore the board to reject the Army's request for authorization to pursue a land exchange, working to build a future that honors our past, respects our present, and safeguards our aina for generations to come is our nations. Those with money are not the voice of the people of Hawaii or the
That's 4 minutes. I gave you 2 minutes more than everybody else.
I just want to say one more thing, board, real quick. And if step down from your position and allow those that have the courage to stand up against the odds to do the job you're not.
Are you out?
It's really disrespectful that you knew that the military wasn't going to be here till this afternoon, and you've kept all of us waiting. Back in October, and the military was given 50 minutes. Hey, no, don't start my time.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Is your name Kaimana? Are you Alakai? Are you Alakai?
It's very disrespectful that you kept us waiting all day.
Okay, and I don't want to debate with you.
We are all on an email list.
Okay, I don't. Go ahead. Your 2 minutes. Your 2 minutes are starting right now.
I'm a founder of Henko and Bunny Couple, and I'm going to start by reminding the board that as a Hawaiian national, I am doing this under threat, duress, and coercion, and absolutely need to. This entire proposal is really insulting. That directly opposed the land exchange is precedented by Kaho'olawe. We saw that happen over there. The water of the military because they never bothered to clean up all the UXO. The land value, however you choose to assess that, should be zero because for one, it is invaluable to us as Kanaka, and it first led and depleted uranium in routine military exercises that they've never actually disclosed. owes to us as a community. I know I only have 30 seconds left. Land stewardship by the military, entire areas categorized as a critical habitat. They are not state lands, they are ceded lands of the Hawaiian Kingdom. There is no assessment of the water aquifer and the impact that will have on us as Kanaka in
I'm sorry, your time is up.
I
Thank you.
understand that. The October meeting is entirely in opposition to the land exchange.
Alakai, I'm going to go on to the next person, who is Melody Aduha. As Melody, are you there?
Yes, I'm Melody Aduha, and I'm the co-chair of the Environmental Caucus of the Democratic Party. Should be extended rather by a lease extension as well as a land transfer. And PTA is not the only site that's been subject enough. In fact, there are 115 military installations with hazardous sites in the state of Hawaii, with a total past and future climate cost of well over $3 billion. And of the 115 military and medium hazardous risk installations, I'm just saying, with all of those history, I don't believe that it would, we have to be aware of the cultural impact. The PTA is the home of more than 300 state-registered archaeological sites, Native Hawaiian, leaving behind cultural shrines, habitation caves, burial sites, and pictographs. If the Army were to own these training areas, it would be simple. Impacts can be mitigated through appropriate consultation with the Native Hawaiians and all threatened groups. There is still a risk of damage or loss of these important cultural sites. Ecosystems, a tropical, subalpine, and dryland ecosystem. The Army's natural resources staff identify, manage, and protect these 15 threat programs. However, the Army's land retention...
Melody, thank you. Your time is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nicole?
Aloha mai. Can you folks hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Aloha. As a Kanaka Maoli and resident of Waianae, Oahu, I hereby urge the board to carefully evaluate this effort from the Army. Still to this day remains traces. Actually recently come across an old video of submarines firing missiles into Mākua Bay, which obviously shows their constant disregard for Aloha Aina and their own priorities. Our article you can find on earthjustice.org. Judge Susan Okimawe ruled that the Army failed to give the community crucial information on cultural sites and contaminate marine resources on which area residents rely on. I personally hear the echoes of terror reverberating through Waianae mountain ranges and school fields and ecosystem. Mākua is in a state of rehabilitation, and I ask the board to consider working closely with the Army, as well as Native Hawaiians, and those who care about the land to ensure this treasure of a valley in which the Army retains, utilizes, and continues to decimate. We ask the board carefully consider the impacts of allowing such appraisals to take place. The existing outcome depend on Chairman's decision. To reiterate, mahalo to those who brought direct awareness to the fact that the military is not a trustworthy be possible, and mahalo to those who allowed me today.
Thank you for the background.
Thank you so much.
I have Kaimana. I see
law school. I just moved. So I am actually opposed to civil practice because of California. They actually had the power to send the Army to actually train over here. It is time for Kanaka Maoli to take back what's rightfully their cause in our lineage, and that's where I stand. If the military can actually, and doing MAC flights and all that stuff, then I'm certainly they can actually let go of that $1 that they actually pay up. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, Makana. Thank you for staying up with Hicks and Luna Kekoa are the last two I have on Zoom, and then I'm going to move back to this room.
Yes.
Yeah, go
Hello,
ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, driving now. So, but I just wanted to testify, like everyone else here, in opposition to this. I understand that something should not be on the table in the first place, and it's just ridiculous under any circumstances. So with that, I'll yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I don't know. Good thing it's part work because I can testify at the time. But I'm just here to support everybody, balance everything. But paying $1 for that, like it's hard to sit here and watch like how we can exchange land like this. I heard all these other people testify that like we have to go there and we do rain ceremonies to provide cultural practices in ways that, you know, we plant things, but gotta make the I love, who testified earlier, and saw what was happening. I'm an employee, but now as like myself, I can say it hurts to do this. Like we have to balance it. You guys sitting on that board, you know, my leaders was there earlier testifying before you, but putting last minute kind of stuff, asking for land, and so like Ui from Middle East, and like we trust you guys to do the right, and you guys is the ones for make this decision. It'll live on forever. Your cake, you will know.
Appreciate the courage that it takes to testify before the board. I know it's not easy, no. I'm really gonna try to close the Zoom so I can go back to this room. Okay, this is the last group because in a little, sister, you can go and then come back.
I can't miss a thing.
Oh, okay. Next, someone that's called painkillers. Another person, Wayne. I hope it's not the Kaivi though. And by the way, let the record reflect. So Dave.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's him.
Oh, he left so he can testify. Okay. Board member. You're always a board member so long as you can't. Dave Milinex, are you there, Dave?
Yes, I'm.
Go ahead.
Military. The first assertion that is essential for national security. That's their standard argument. It's essential for national security. This argument they used at Red. They continue to say we must keep this open for national security. Suddenly they miraculously found someplace else to store their now they always say they cannot do it because of us, the citizens of the United States. But that's not what they do. They're number one at Red Hill. Their second erroneous argument is not true. As Melody said, there's 115 hazardous sites on Oahu, in Hawaii, that they have sites across the United States created by the U.S. military that they have not cleaned up. Fund sites. So 60% of your tax dollars go to the military. It's the largest budget. We contrary to what they say, they're not giving us any national security for that. We are not at war, so why are we spending so much money on the military? We need to cut it back, and so we need to have the military.
Right.
And thank you very much for. I hear you. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you so much. I have someone who's called Painkiller. Wayne Tanaka. Joshua Aquino. Oh, Wayne.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I good afternoon. Used to BLNR resources for an appraisal, and particularly the delegation of authority to the chair. We think much more discussion is needed before any of your limited resources and time are spent in preparing for a potential exchange. First, it's not clear that the Army has any land obligation to assess whether it has surplus property, surplus ceded lands, and then relinquish them to the state. And so given that the vast majority of federal lands in Hawaii are in fact ceded or stolen from the Hawaiian Kingdom and Crown, it's very unlikely that the Army has surplus and should be returned to the state anyway. and not, not used to bargain for an exchange. So an exchange is probably the wrong way to start this conversation. Secondly, rather than a fair market value assessment, I think what we really need to start this conversation in a meaningful manner is an assessment of what the costs of